All right. There's like two ways I want to answer that question, because there's two different roads that I feel like I need to acknowledge and to highlight. One road is the road that people see and create their own perspective and perception around, and the other road is the one that people don't see. The other road is the road that is a majority of what's actually going on and what's actually taking place, and that's more egregious than what the picture perfect image of something might project or might indicate or give the impression of. On one side of things, when we're talking about the side that people see, how did I get there? How did I get to this space in my career, in my brand, in my platform? I would say that just came ultimately with relationship building, like making sure that I, again, that energy, like understood the people I was around, understood what people I wanted around or needed to go, understanding who I aligned with, who was really going to be like family to me, who wasn't, and how they were ultimately going to help inspire me in whatever way that was. And I always hope that I can give that same energy back. Like I'm not a taker, I'm a giver, but I'm a student, and I'm always going to be a student first. So when it comes to anybody that I encounter, regardless of whatever socioeconomic status they may fall in, I intend on learning something from you. I intend on being educated. So when it comes to the people I've connected with and that have helped me either just remind me of who the hell I am, or push me and connect me by giving me different opportunities to collaborate with them, or do these monumental things in the culture and in the world. And I've just made sure that, again, I upheld that standard of what it is they can expect from me, and I wanted to make sure I always over delivered. So that was the other thing. I was always over delivering. I was always doing overtime. And there's a balance you have to find with the labor that comes with it, because you don't want to burn yourself out. But you do have to be willing to go that extra mile, to over deliver on the things that you ultimately set out to do with people, because that's going to be what helps you stand out. That's going to be what creates that strong dynamic and foundation between the two of you, or three of you, or whatever the case may be. But in my case scenario, it was that. It was like really establishing who is Dylan, and finding myself and highlighting that authentically, and making sure that I just continue to stay true to that, and to outgrow whatever it is I needed to outgrow, and expand in whatever areas that I needed to expand. And I just stayed committed to the vision. I never let up on the vision, and I never stopped believing in it. And that's kind of what takes me to that other side of the work. There's a level of commitment that comes with that belief. And on both sides of the fence, you have to be willing to commit. You have to be willing to show up. You have to be willing to push yourself and hold yourself accountable, as well as those connected to you. And on that tougher grind, I have been met with so much BS. Like so much BS. I mean, it's not just me, but I'm just speaking from my personal testimony, because I can't speak for anybody else. But I know that there are so many people who can relate to me, just because of my network and the people that I'm within, and the stories that I've had the honor of having disclosed to me, and the things that I've simply just witnessed and studied. And when it comes down to it, I am an anomaly in the culture when it comes to ultimately what I have done in the culture, which was create an entire new era. Like, a lot of people don't really understand, even though they know who I am and they might consider themselves like my greatest fans and all this stuff, they don't understand the experience of what actually came with that, the hardships, the hate, the closed doors, the blacklisting, the discrimination, the prejudice, the ugly, ugly, ugly sides of things that you get faced with on that dark side of stuff, the mental health things, the emotional health things, the sabotage from others, from your own self. Like, there are so many hurdles that ultimately, when you're set up for greatness, or when you're set up to do something that has never been done before, you're going to be met with and you're going to be challenged with. And again, having the right people around you, the communities to support you, to have your back, to remind you, like, hey, you got this, you can do it, is imperative. And for you to continue to reinstill that within your own self. And that can really only be done when you do the work. And the work is going to look a little bit different on everybody. It really comes down to, what are you trying to get out of life? What are you trying to show up and do? What are you purposed in? How are you trying to contribute to the world? It's going to look a little different on everybody. But there are certain things that I would consider like a fundamental baseline or foundation that everybody needs to do a little bit of every day if they want to be in their best, fullest, most whole, divine humanity. Like, if they want their best human experience, if they ultimately want to achieve what I would consider their greatest potential, there are certain things that we need to do a little bit every day to nurture certain relationships within our own self, and again, that are extended beyond us. And I think that it's unclear what some of that is. That's why I had to go on that journey to explore, like, what are the details? And I've come to find that it's all very simple in theory and in concept, but the work itself is not easy. It is very challenging. And it's mostly because I think we live in a time today where we want instant gratification. We want information to register and process right away. And we just think that that's enough. Like, we think that, like, seeing or reading or engaging in something like once or twice is enough, and that's just not the case. So for some people, maybe you're, an anomaly. Maybe you got some genius thing going on, and that's great. But for most people, especially when it comes to retaining health, wellness, and knowledge in a long form, and you want that longevity, you 100% are going to need to put in that work on a regular basis.